I'm Faith, and my fellow members are Bridie and Chris. Bridie will be taking us through the communication statement, client research, content analysis, and infographic. Chris will be taking us through personas and experience journey map, and I will be taking us through the case studies and the recommendations. Now I'll pass it off to Bridie to start us off.
Our communication statement is: attracting youth to volunteer in the community presents a challenge for how to best engage with them. By utilising modern avenues like social media, we will present a strategy that aims to increase the participation rate of young people in volunteer programs. Our objectives are to engage a young audience in the services of the ARC, an age bracket of between 12 and 17. We aim to, through the development of campaigns, market to this age bracket and draw in larger numbers of young volunteers to the ARC. Our strategy presentation design concept is to create a sub-brand in the form of a mini website that branches off the Australian Red Cross's current site, which can have more edgy and modern themes in its design to appeal to a younger demographic. This is an audit of current communication channels. The Australian Red Cross uses photography to capture the diversity of volunteers and organisations that are involved as volunteers. The website is clear and easy to navigate around. They follow brand guidelines as well. They have created an interactive campaign about fleeing your home in a crisis. This activity enables people to explore the mindset of those affected by crisis to encourage empathy and volunteer participation. The ARC is active across their various social media channels. This is a great tool for building an inclusive online community and giving people an accessible space to interact with one another. There is a recurring theme of photography that displays volunteers and organisations getting involved through the Red Cross. Many of the photos are of an older community. There are not as many youth participant photos that you can find straight away, which could be a potential opportunity. They also use platforms like Facebook for advertising upcoming events. These are our infographics. The first one is: there are 17,486 young humanitarians part of the Red Cross. Most ages of volunteers are between 35 and 45 and 15 and 17. In 2011, 33.5% of surveyed young people identified themselves as participating in volunteer work. In 2012, the figure jumped to 60.5%, while the 2013 figure shows a slight decline to 55.6%. It still suggests a growth overall in youth volunteering in Australia. In Mission Australia's 2013 survey of 14,461 young Australians aged between 15 to 19, volunteering was reported as one of the 3 top activities in which young people were engaging during 2013, 2012 and 2011, following engagement in sports as a participant and as a spectator.
Okay, thanks for that, Bridie. So these 2 personas were developed using a mixture of secondary research and our personal experiences. My primary persona is a 17-year-old student named Janine who goes to a private school. She lives in an affluent neighborhood and has just completed her HSC. Throughout high school, she's been heavily involved in many charitable causes, and her experiences have taught her the value of giving back. Her pain points revolve around the pressure to maintain a high level of involvement required in her activities. This is a strong persona to target for the Australian Red Cross because they're motivated, enthusiastic, and they've done this before and will likely do it again. Tracy is a 15-year-old semi-troubled teen. She lives in a middle-class neighborhood and attends the local public school. Tracy is a bright person but is constantly getting into trouble with her friends. She's been skipping school and putting her future in jeopardy. After getting caught, part of her punishment is to do some charity work. Tracy has no prior knowledge of any organizations aside from the fact that they help people in need. Her pain points revolve around the fear of missing out on activities with her friends. This persona is someone outside the norm of a typical volunteer, which is likely the majority of people. The challenge for targeting this persona is because their altruistic nature is harder to reach. Each person will have a different experience when interacting with the Australian Red Cross brand. This can be mapped out through a customer journey map. In steps 1 to 3, The individual is made aware of the Red Cross through exposure to their branding in numerous areas throughout their local community. This could come in the form of passing a Red Cross storefront, seeing a vehicle, or picking up a publication left somewhere. Once made aware and interest is stirred, they would conduct in-depth research about the organization by visiting the website. At these points, the two personas would have different perceptions about what they see. One would see it as an opportunity, and the other would begin critically questioning any form of involvement. As we move to the final three stages, the touchpoints become the ARC structures, such as office buildings and their exterior and interior. Concerns such as whether the building is located close to public transport, easy to find, and in a safe place can affect the user journey. One, teenagers are not accustomed to the office environments and could feel highly intimidated. So while the altruistic teenager maintains a positive outlook throughout, the rebellious teenager needs more attention to clarify her doubts. It's important that her doubts and uncertainty don't turn into frustration. Now I'd like to introduce Faith, who will discuss some local and international case studies.
Thank you, Chris, for the introduction. I'll now be discussing two case studies. The first one is the rebranding of Nine Entertainment Company and their multi-channel family. Nine is best known for its first free-to-air channel, Channel 9, but having only one channel meant that the network needed to consider the Australian people in their entirety, instead of being able to specifically focus on a particular demographic. In 2009, Go was launched in order to directly target the youth segment with dedicated programming and shows unique to the channel. Up until recently, Nine's primary focus was on their original channel, while viewing the others as secondary. A reflection of this was visible in their ratings. The series of independent TV brands created by Nine admittedly failed to work as expected, leading them into rethinking their entire brand architecture, including the logo they were using for each network. In late 2015, Nine rebranded their family of television network logos. In doing so, they were able to present a more unified look to their audience. In the new logos, each channel had its own distinct colour palette. What created a cohesion amongst the individual channels was the use of Nine's signature 9 dots as part of each logo. Use of this iconic branding made it clear to viewers that although separate and unique content is spread across multiple channels, they all belong to the same network. While creating sub-brands can greatly attribute to a brand's overall success, there needs to be cohesion amongst brands in order for this to happen. Simply creating a completely new brand with no obvious ties to the original can have negatively impacting effects. Consumers who show brand loyalty to the original may not understand the connection to its sub-brand, resulting them in potentially disregarding its credibility. Something as simple as Nine's rebranding approach proved to be an effective method of solidifying their brand identity in consumers' minds. The key lies in creating sub-brands that, although offer content aimed at different demographics, share a design element that anchors them to be a unified brand identity. The second case study is that of Friends of the Earth and their digital recruitment strategy. In 2017, Friends of the Earth launched a campaign to save Britain's bees. They connected themselves to new and existing supporters through the use of social media. Friends of the Earth discovered that the key to success was to engage people early on, as this resulted in subsequent communications based on actions that they had already taken. Part of their campaign was built on a value exchange program. When in return for their donations, supporters received a product. Two products were available, the Bee Saver Kit and the Urban Nature Kit. They found there to be great success in actively involving their supporters in a practical way that also makes a difference. The present is a time of increased political awareness, especially with more young people choosing to be actively engaged. This provides a perfect opportunity for charities to recruit new supporters through a strong virtual presence and along with a clear campaign strategy. If supporters are able to witness the social impacts from the actions they take within online communities as being positive, their activism will increase. This is why Friends of the Earth's strategy towards digital recruitment proved to be successful in creating support, both new and old. Based on the presentation we have shown you, these are our following recommendations. Firstly, to create a sub-site that branches off the ARC's main site as a platform for young people to use. The creation of infographics specifically targeted at young people, educating them on the benefits of becoming a volunteer. To use online trends of colour palettes when creating the sub-brand. Enabling young people to communicate with each other on the digital space to encourage them to return and build a community together. Have games that are accessible on the app to make the experience of visiting fun and enjoyable. and to display case studies of people that younger generations look up to when volunteering. Thank you.